Okay, so every year since we've moved, our garden, we've hoped and have tried to make it be better each year. You know, we keep amending the soil and just trying to build it up and make it better. And each year we kind of get defeated because, you know, it just does not doing as well like our last where we lived at last. Our garden there was always big and beautiful and was, you know, able to grow a lot of tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and but ever since we've been here it's just been hard. Gardening is hard. Are we failing our garden or is our garden failing us? We just have so much going on. You know, we buy in hopes and knowing that we've got to get it in the ground, but then life happens and we don't get it in the ground. And then you end up with, well, these down here aren't as bad. They're not the greatest, but they're not as bad. But then as you go up here, you'll see that there's this one, I don't know if this one up here is going to make it. It's so sad looking. I really don't think it's going to make it, but we'll see. And if it doesn't, then maybe we'll find another plant in replace of it. But it's just so hard. Ever since we moved, we have yet to get our garden, our dirt, like it was at our old house. We keep adding stuff to help build up the dirt. And every year we're always late getting into the ground. And so it's just hard. Gardening is hard work. So we're working on it, and each year we keep trying. You know, we feel so when you have a garden and it's not doing like you want it to be, or like you see other gardens. You know, you see the big beautiful gardens and everything is just so pretty and beautiful, and everything's growing. It just seems so easy for them. Well, that is just not us right now. We had big beautiful gardens in our last house, and this house is just not happening yet. So I don't know if it takes, all the fun out of gardening when you see every year you put all the money and all the work and there's a lot of work into it, and then being out in the summer tending to it and just for it to not work. And then, you can tell as I'm looking around at all this mess still in our raised beds. I mean, we still have all leaves everywhere, pots and old things that need to be thrown away. But it's just, it kind of takes the desire out of you, the excitement out of gardening when every year it just seems to be, not living up to what you wanted it to be, not kind of a failure type thing, I guess you could say. I mean, we have tomatoes, and we grew tomatoes, and we had some cucumbers and squash and peppers, but it just wasn't to the amount that we were used to and we're wanting. We still, had to go ahead and supplement by buying from other farmers. Just simply, if we wanted to go ahead and like can items, can make salsa or ferment items, we still had to go ahead and supplement with other farmers' produce. Which, there's nothing wrong with that, but man, when you go to do all the money and the work into your garden, you just feel so defeated for it to turn out, not so well. So if anybody ever tells you that gardening is so easy, it's so easy. And you know what? It may be for some people, but for me, it is just simply not easy right now. And I think that's just the season of my time right now. With gardening, I'm just, like I said, the last house we had beautiful gardens, but this house here, this ground here is just not where it needs to be. So we are still working on it. Like I said, though, it does get you down. It does make you think, gosh, is it even worth it? Is it worth going through all the trouble of cleaning up all the messes from last year's garden to put in your new garden? It's just a cycle, a never-ending cycle, and it's just hard when you put all the work into it and for it just to be kind of, get ate up with pests, or it has some kind of like, some kind of disease or whatever, it gets so frustrating, and then you just want to throw up your arms and say forget it, and just let it let it be. Because look at these, and a lot of it is our fault, because we buy the plants with good intentions of getting them into the ground, and then life happens, we can't get them into the ground, and they can only live so long in their little pots, and they just get too big for them. So it's hard for them to to get back. It's hard for them to take off again when you get them in the ground. So I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. But don't ever let, if you're in the garden and you're having trouble with your garden not working, it's things are not growing the way you want them to, and it's just a lot of work, you're not alone. Not everybody has those perfect gardens out there, and definitely not us. And even like when our garden was good at our other house, we still had problems. It wasn't just all easy peasy. It was still a lot of work. It was still a lot of work, but we had the benefits. We had the benefits of actually having lots of tomatoes being grown, and lots of cucumbers being grown, and lots of squash and zucchini, and all the things of peppers we had planted, jalapenos, and everything we planted was just doing really well. We were able to share with other people. We were sometimes it would go bad because we didn't get to it in time. And that guy right there, he's the one you have to watch out for. At least Cassie and I do, because he will go after us. And right now you can tell he's trying to go towards me. So anyways, so long story short, if your garden is not growing the way you wish it would, you are not alone. And one of these days, one of these years, is going to be all worth each year that you kept building up the soil. It's going to be worth it, because one of these years, it's going to actually be there, and it's going to be, your soil is going to be good, and it's going to start producing, and it won't be as hard of work. It'll still be hard, but at least you'll have the benefits of the hard work, and not just all the hard work and some things are growing and some's not. But I need to go ahead and get the rest of this planted, because like I said, they look pitiful, and we'll see how it does.